Hey there, and welcome back to Mass Effect 3. My name is Pete, and today we complete another episode of our Insanity walkthrough. Last time we left off after an atmospheric visit to an Ardad monastery. During the mission we also met our former squad member Samara, and at the end of the video I said that today we would be taking things back to the Citadel. And we're going to do that, but first we want to scan 2 more system clusters, starting with the Argus Row cluster. The main reason we are doing this is to collect 2 more items that will then allow us to turn in 2 more side quests on the Citadel, although along the way we will of course also be able to grab a few other bits and pieces.
Signal confirmed.
As always, most of them come in the form of war assets, and I think in the next episode we will take another detailed look at the full list back on the Normandy. There are definitely quite a few things that have been added since the last time. For now, we have grabbed the Advanced Power Relays war asset and have made our way over to the Phoenix system. I prefer to take the systems on in this order for fuel reasons, as the Phoenix system has a quite sizable deposit.
I found something.
More important than that, we can also find a fossilized Cagliosaur in here, and this rather unique name might already ring a bell. Yes, this is one of those 2 Citadel quests I mentioned earlier. Scanning further, we can then also return to the grounds of the Pinnacle Station DLC way back from Mass Effect 1. The description here reveals that, thankfully, the station is still intact, and by scanning the asteroid that it's built upon, we can now acquire another war asset in the form of a Turian Spec Ops team.
Reapers eluded.
That now brings us back to the Hydra system, and you can do the math, we still have 2 locations left to survey.
Signal confirmed.
The first of which can be found on Canrum, which does actually have an interesting bit of lore behind it. This rocky planet was the site of a particularly interesting fight during the Krogan rebellions, in which Turian forces took down a band of Krogan led by a female. And from our talks with Eve, we have learned how valued females are in Krogan society, not to mention that they usually leave the warlording to the men. The Haptic Optics Array war asset then sadly does not have anything to do with that backstory. Still, we are hardly going to say no to another 50 points of military strength.
Faster than light jump successful.
With our fuel reserves topped up again, it is now time to travel over to the Valhallan Threshold, where our second object of interest is waiting to be retrieved. Once again then, we have 3 systems to survey, and also once again for a grand total of 6 points of interest, half of which however can already be found in this first one here.
I found something.
Starting off with a gas giant, we will shortly obtain another war asset, the first of 2 that we can find in the system. And yes, I will be the first to admit that all of this planet scanning does not necessarily make for the most entertaining episodes. It is, however, unavoidable if we truly want to complete the game, and sometimes it even needs to be done first before the action starts, just to avoid unnecessary backtracking. And so, with a bit more fuel acquired, we can now scan Farlas for another war asset. However, the Element Zero converter here is still not what we are really here for. That particular item can be found in the next system here, on the formerly Krogan planet Garvuk.
Signal confirmed.
And as it is unfortunately the case with several Krogan planets, this here was another sad example of unchecked overbreeding and environmental destruction, so today it is nothing more than a frozen wasteland. Still, from its surface we can recover some Prothean data drives, and those are what we need to satisfy the demands of a particular Alliance soldier in the Citadel docking bay.
Reapers eluded.
Finally then, a bit more fuel and back to the mass relay we go, but we're not going back to the Citadel just yet.
I found something.
At least not before recovering another minor fuel deposit. At this point though, it is finally time for some actual gameplay, so let's return to where we started the episode. Now, next to the continuation of the game's main quest line, we also still have 2 DLCs that begin here. However, we will leave those be for 2 or 3 more episodes, at which point they then fit a bit better into the main storyline.
You're cleared to dock, Normandy. Do you need ground transport?
I'll handle it.
Yes, Commander.
And as soon as we arrive, we can now turn in the Prothean data drives that we just acquired.
I recovered Prothean data drives from Garvug. I'll have them brought here.
Commander Shepard, thank you. I'm sure that'll help with, any operation we have going. Thank you again, Commander. I appreciate the assist.
Alright, that's 15,000 credits as a reward, definitely not the last one we will receive today. Our business in the docking bay, however, is already concluded, so let us now take the elevator into the holding area.
Spectre status recognized. Please select a destination. One moment, please. Now arriving at docking bay E24, emergency civilian housing.
In here, we also really only have two things on our to-do list. The first one being to completely empty out the store of Batarian State Arms.
Welcome to Batarian State Arms.
With 3 weapon attachments, a helmet and a suit of armor, we will spend 73,000 credits here. Being an ammo capacity upgrade, the helmet will likely never be used, while the Terminus armor should already be familiar from Mass Effect 2, although with its bonuses it remains most suitable for close combat specialists.
Batarian State Arms. Defending the hegemony. Your purchases are a credit to the hegemony.
And that's it, no more purchases to make here, on to our next objective, as we have acquired a special something for one of the refugees in the area.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And yes, James is also playing poker again, but does not have anything new to say to us.
I found a Prothean sphere on Gehinnom. Contact the Alliance and tell them Commander Shepard asked them to pay you for it.
Yes, thank you. I'll call them right now. Thank you, Commander. I've gotten food for my family, and for some of the others who are trapped here too.
Alright, that is another person helped, although we probably could have used that money ourselves, not to mention that for some reason we just received 15,000 credits, so perhaps the refugee here was paid a bit more than he really needed. In any case, that's the holding area done with as well. Back to the elevator we go, and then over to the Purgatory bar.
Spectre status recognized. Please select a destination. One moment, please. Now arriving at Ward's level, Purgatory.
Now in here we have 3 conversations to complete, the first one with none other than Aria, who despite our exploits on Omega can still be found here, which is admittedly a little bit odd considering how determined she was to take back her home, but who knows, maybe she has an explanation for it.
It seems the galaxy can't keep us apart. Since we took back Omega, I've been consolidating my resources for the war. It's a little easier to coordinate from here. So unfortunately, I'll be slumming it on the Citadel for the time being. The Blue Suns, Bloodpack, and Eclipse are in my pocket. I'll send them to war when you're ready for them. Is there anything on your mind?
How's the rebuilding going on Omega?
People understand the first order of business is shoring up defenses. No one wants another invasion. So they're enduring valiantly, not that they have a choice. Once again, I am Omega.
And all of that despite sitting here on the Citadel. Well, who are we to judge? By the way, all of the other dialogue options have been explored already, so we can get going.
We'll talk later.
I'm sure.
Right, and with that we can now hand over some Asari texts, which we actually found in the last episode.
I recovered some texts from a library in Reaper-controlled space. I can have them waiting for you at Bay D24 if that would help.
Really? Well, damn, it couldn't hurt. Thank you. Maybe those texts will help the Asari remember how to fight again. Yes, make it required reading. Light from the Shadows, Path of the Justicar, all of it. I have Matriarch Thea's backing on this. I want every Asari maiden thinking with the mind of a huntress.
Okay, looks like we strengthened the Asari a bit, and before we continue collecting war assets, let's have a conversation with Joker and Edie, who can be found in the booth over here.
Hey, Commander! I was just about to get us another round.
So, looks like you two are having fun.
Yes. Joker has been smiling and laughing at a significantly higher rate since he and I agreed upon a relationship. I mean, he is happier.
Now, our dialogue choices in this conversation do not matter in terms of morality points. Still, I think we will stick with the options at the top, as the alternatives do sound a bit gloomy at times.
It seemed like you two might make a good match.
I was not so certain. When I first presented this body to Jeff, he seemed aloof.
Really? What did Joker say?
He said I didn't have to conform to some feminine ideal in order to impress him. I then called him on his bullshit, and we then proceeded to talk normally. After your encouragement, his attitude exhibited signs of change. He said he was reluctant, but you convinced him to go for it.
I might have helped a little.
I see. Thank you for your support, Shepard. This is proving to be an illuminating experience. You just introduced me as your personal assistance mech.
Yeah, well, it was the only way to get you inside.
But you know I am not one. Why deceive others?
You don't really want to introduce yourself as an AI with Reaper-based code. They would lynch you.
That would be an inefficient way to render me non-functional. Your turn. Counselor Tavos.
Hot. But points off for attitude.
Shaira the consort.
Hot, I guess? Can we stop this? You're creeping me out.
Dalatras Linron.
Ew.
Alright, and with that we can leave them to it. If you are wondering about the Turian in the back, we already talked to that guy quite a few episodes ago, and at this point he only has a recurring line for us thanking us for retrieving an artifact for him. So back out we go and on to our next destination. The Huerta Memorial Hospital, by the way, is the only place we will not visit today, and with the Citadel Embassies marking our final destination, the Presidium Commons are our next stop.
Spectre status recognized. Please select a destination. 1 moment, please. Now arriving at Presidium Commons.
Alright, now usually we turn left to visit the shops first, but let us first collect a bit more money before we do that, and I think turning in that Cagliosauria fossil would be a very good starting point.
Actually, I found a Cagliosauria skull preserved in amber. Maybe you could clone it, or...
You're kidding? You're kidding, seriously? Well, if the genetic material is intact, we could... We've got cloning facilities on Surkesh. Cagliosauria genes were remarkably pliable. Cloning might be effective.
Now, he does have another line for us, but it feels a bit weird to get that immediately after turning in the quest, so we will return here shortly to get an update on the situation. In the meantime, if you can recall, we also had a request from Miranda for a private conversation, and that is exactly what's waiting for us behind this apartment door.
I got your message, Miranda. Is this about your sister?
Shepard, I need access to Alliance resources. I can't say any more. You'll just have to trust me.
I don't like secrets, Miranda. Just tell me what's going on.
I can't, Shepard. If that's a problem, I'll go.
Don't. Trust is a little hard to come by right now.
Of course.
Alright, now this time we can in fact obtain some morality points, and considering our history, I think we will go with the Paragon option here and show ourselves trusting.
You'll have your access, Miranda, but I don't like the sound of this.
I know, and thank you. It means a lot.
That's not the only thing you wanted to talk about, is it?
No. I need to tell you something. Confess, really. It's been eating away at me.
Confess?
When I headed the Lazarus Project to rebuild you, I wanted to implant a control chip in you as a safeguard.
I think you mentioned this.
I did. There's more to it. The elusive man stopped me.
Sounds like it would have saved him a lot of trouble.
Maybe. He didn't want to interfere with who you truly were. Something that just obeyed orders. He wanted Commander Shepard. Installing the chip might have ruined you.
And honestly, considering her entire situation, that line of thinking is somewhat understandable, and telling her that earns us 2 more Paragon points.
I understand why you wanted to. I was a complete unknown.
I've never had to deal with that many black boxes on a project. I felt blind.
Why bring that up now?
I fought against my father and his need to run every aspect of my life. He wanted total control over me, right down to my bloody DNA. After I got out of there, I couldn't stand by and let it happen to my sister. I risked my life to get her away from all that. Yet I didn't give a second thought to destroying your free will when I had the power.
This is what's been bothering you?
Yes.
Miranda, I lost 2 years of my life. You gave me back the rest of it. You could have changed me in 1,000 different ways, but you didn't. I don't know how, but you brought me back.
Thanks. But with so much being uncertain, I just wanted you to know I always regretted wanting that chip.
This final dialogue option then is not a morality choice, but she seems to have enough on her mind, so I think it's best if we assure her that the past is in the past.
You can't keep beating yourself up over the past.
I usually don't. But this was important.
Some things you just don't have control over.
Guess my fancy genetics can't help me there.
No, they can't.
Okay. I hate to say it, but I should get moving. Thanks for understanding, Shepard.
Of course. And Miranda, this thing you have to do. Good luck.
Don't worry, Shepard. I always have a plan.
Alright, and with 4 Paragon points earned, and perhaps also with a few question marks about what Miranda might do next, let us now return to our Solarian friend, and let us just assume that the Solarian cloning facilities work extremely fast.
Really? And they're already riding the first units into battle? Well, that's great. No, don't worry about that. It's how Cacliosaurs mark territory, and the Krogan don't seem to mind.
Alright, and there we are, in just a few minutes from fossil to warbeast. I guess those are the wonders of modern science. Our tour, meanwhile, continues as we run into another squad member, not to mention Shepard's love interest for this playthrough.
Of course. We can have ships at the colony in 36 hours. Do you need medical support?
No, evacuating the colony is more than enough. Thank you, Ambassador.
Ambassador?
I'm coordinating actions for the fleet while we're here, evacuating colonies, bolstering Turian defense lines. I think it was right here. 3 years ago to the day.
What?
This was where Saren's assassins fired at me. I'd just gotten to the Citadel. I didn't think I needed my barriers up. My mistake.
Saren had assassins after you?
Right. I disabled the Geth and found that recording that proved he was working with the Reapers. I went to Ilium and tried to inform the authorities, but Saren's mercenaries attacked me. I barely escaped. I stowed away on a Turian freighter and came out here. I thought I was safe.
Once again then, despite what it may look like, this is not a morality choice. It does, however, allow us to gain a few more insights into those final moments before we met Tali for the first time.
You never told me about this. How bad was it?
Got me in the arm. They used polonium rounds. I was running a fever in minutes. It was the first time I'd been really hurt on my pilgrimage. I ran to the Council Embassy, asked for protection, offered the data on Saren. The Turian clerk called me Soot Rat. He threatened to have me tossed off the station if I didn't leave.
I wish that clerk could see you now.
He just did. That was him back there. I don't think he remembers me.
And as long as Tali does not seem to be keen on reminding him, let us not encourage her. Instead, let us appreciate her ability of rising above it.
And you're assisting him in spite of that.
This war is too big for old grudges. You showed me that. We're at peace with the Geth. I can't waste my time on a Turian who made me angry. Besides, it all worked out. I made it to the wards. You found me. Happy ending.
And now the Turians will get the aid they desperately need.
I nearly reminded him who I was. Made him apologize, rubbed his nose in it. Maybe he and I both needed to grow up a little.
The difference is that you helped when it counted.
The difference was you. Everything looks so peaceful. In here, you can almost forget about the war. I never get tired of looking at this place. I never thought they'd let a Quarian up here. The Presidium is so beautiful.
Alright, and after a few more one-liners, it is now time to go shopping again and to actually unlock another achievement, as we are just about to purchase our second non-customizable suit of armor.
Welcome to Nosastra Sporting Goods.
Now, the collector armor here is fairly protective, but nothing special in my opinion, and despite its price tag, we are likely only going to use it once, if at all.
Our selections include rare technology upgrades from the Terminus systems. Good hunting.
Now that unlocks the Always Prepared achievement, but we are not done yet.
Welcome to Casa Fabrication Weaponry.
For another 50,000 credits, we can now obtain the Inferno armor, which, as you can see, is very clearly tailored towards heavy power users. For a soldier class Shepard, it is therefore not really all that useful.
Casa Fabrication Weaponry hasn't forgotten Earth. Neither
Moving on then, it is time for a bit more sadness.
Her name is Thessia Porae. Of course, P-O-R-A-E. No, I realize you can't tell me where she was deployed. Can you inform me if she's under orders not to communicate with her family? It's been a while since I heard from her. But I would be contacted if she were injured, correct? Yes, I'm listed as her bond mate. Yes, I can hold. Her name is Thessia Porae.
Weshra, I have an audio log for you.
For me? Where did this come? Oh no. Oh, Thessia. Thank you for bringing this back. At least I know what happened.
And yes, we found that recording during the last episode in the Ardadyaksha Monastery, and that unique and also very secret location is probably also the reason why she has not yet heard anything.
I've recovered the obelisk of Karza. It's waiting for you in Bay D24.
You have? It's amazing. Thank you, Commander. That's going to help immeasurably with some very sensitive work. How's the translation going? Really? Excellent. Well, hopefully it unlocks more intel from the archive.
And there we go, the obelisk of Karza has been turned in as well. Up next then we can hand over some Geth target jamming technology that we found over on Rannoch.
I pulled this from a Geth jamming tower. Maybe you can use it.
How the hell did you... Oh, never mind. Tech like this, I don't care where it came from. I'll have my people run with this. When the war comes back here, maybe we can save more lives. Thanks again. If we can get it working, this jamming tech will make this place a lot safer.
Alright, and with all of those rewards collected, we can now finally head back to that left side of the elevator. As you may be able to remember, 2 kiosks can be found over there, although despite our best efforts, we will not be able to empty them out just yet. What we can do, however, is make a beeline for the Elkos Combine kiosk, which once again offers 3 weapon attachments, an armor piece and a full suit of armor. The Cerberus armor suit is outside of our price range for now, but the shoulder guards are the main piece of interest anyway, as they are the last missing armor piece with a weapon damage bonus. Now there is another kiosk on the right side here, but that one also only sells armors at this point for 40 and 50,000 credits respectively. Needless to say, we will have to come back here at a later date. For now then, it is time to finally visit the embassies.
Spectre status recognized. Please select a destination. One moment, please. Now arriving at Presidium Embassies.
Excuse me, I'm Commander Shepard. If you promise to be careful, I've got something for you.
A Reaper code fragment. Yes, I can use this to try to predict their strategic processes. We might be able to save a few worlds with this, Commander. Thank you. No, I know what I said. Divert forces to the new coordinates. Trust me. We may not be able to stop the Reapers, but I think we can predict their movements now.
Alright, that is another side quest turned in, and before we talk to the Asari Counselor, the main reason we are here, let us briefly talk to the Elcor Ambassador over here.
Urgently. Human, I must speak to you on behalf of my people.
What is it?
Holding sorrow. Takuna, my home world. The Reapers have come. Holding sorrow. Our warriors are under siege, but your forces can rescue them. Urgently, please. All the other races have turned us aside.
How do your people fight?
Proudly, with VI-assisted infantry. Our soldiers carry heavy weapons into battle mounted on their backs. Mixed pride and shame, our enemies have called us living tanks, as well as names less flattering.
Alright, and for 2 Paragon points we will agree to help. This is a simple fetch quest that we can easily complete in the galaxy map.
I'll take the Normandy as soon as we have time.
Relief. Thank you, Commander. Small hope. Perhaps we can evacuate some of our civilians when your forces arrive. Anxiously, I will remain here for news. Please hurry. Dakuna burns.
And there we are, that is almost the entire to-do list checked off for now, except for that final all-important conversation.
I want all remaining files secured and marked for Tentron clearance only. Commander Shepard, thank you for coming.
Did you find something?
The Council has ordered a full review into Donald Udina's activities. We're still piecing together his coup attempt. But that isn't why I asked you here. The situation is growing urgent for my people. We're aware your crucible is still missing a key component.
The catalyst? Do you know something?
Not exactly, but there is a artifact on our homeworld, Thessia, known only to highest levels of my government.
What is it?
With any luck, it's a means to help you locate the catalyst. The artifact is kept in a temple located at these coordinates. I've ordered a scientific team to meet you there.
If this artifact is so important, why keep it hidden?
Every species in the Citadel has its secrets, Commander. But this one, in the wrong hands, would upset the balance of galactic power.
The Reapers are doing that right now.
Which is why I'm bringing this to you.
And honestly, as justified as the renegade option might be at this point, let us still stick to the Paragon path. Let's take some inspiration from Tali here and be the bigger man.
I appreciate the help.
It's you who will be helping us. The matriarchs are growing desperate. For the first time in our history, Thessia is vulnerable. For all our intellect, we're outmatched by Reaper firepower.
I'll do what I can.
Whether you know it or not, you've become the sole ray of hope in a very dark night. Goddess be with you.
Alright then, and with that, our path for the next episode is clear. We need to travel to the Asari homeworld of Thessia, where we will finally be able to continue the game's main plotline. For today though, we are not done just yet, but at least here on the Citadel we are.
Spectre status recognized. Please select a destination. 1 moment, please. Now arriving at Docking Bay D24.
So using the rapid transit terminal over here, we can now save a few seconds and head back to the Normandy, where our next destination will be the captain's cabin. Having just acquired those shoulder guards, we can now finally complete our armor set with a 50% weapon damage bonus, and this is very likely what we are going to wear for the rest of the playthrough. Still, we also picked up several non-customizable armor suits as well, and perhaps we will still be able to find 1 or 2 smaller missions to show off a selected few. The Cerberus Ajax armor, I hope I pronounced that correctly, was never actually purchased by the way. In the Legendary Edition it is automatically given to us after our first Citadel visit. Previously, in the old Mass Effect 3, it was part of the Alternate Appearance Pack DLC. Either way, depending on your preference for armor bonuses, it is pretty powerful, with the sum of its bonuses totaling 80%, usually non-customizable suits are limited to only 60. That is probably also one of the reasons why it is a bit overpowered in the early game, not to mention that anything Cerberus related is probably not too high on Shepard's preferred list of outfits. So here we are then after a somewhat short-ish episode, but with our path for the next one pretty clear ahead of us. We will travel to Thessia and take care of whatever awaits us there, which then also puts us right at the beginning of the endgame. So let's make the cut for today, and as always I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.